different first because, I was there at the studio. We had it planned for a couple months for me to go there. Um, it's funny because we had originally planned for April 25th. So when I was, we're putting in 15, 20-hour days. Um, and then I had to extend the stay, let my family know I'm going to be here a little longer because we're not ready on the 25th. Just stay another 5 days. And we're just running and running. But, when you love what you do, no matter what anybody says, you're always going to have crunch time in gaming, especially in indie studios. It just is what it is. You have to try and hit deadlines. There's things you can't account for, and there's a lot we couldn't account for. It was a really intense, a lot of work. And then just when I had a few hours of sleep, got on a bus, 3 planes. So last week was really intense. We were all like family. In other words, there's at times where you hear voices being raised a little bit, and I'm like talking to the marketing team, and sometimes like up here a little bit because we're just exhausted. And when you're working so many hours with somebody, hey, look, you're just acting like a family at that point. And now I there's a little bit of breathing room, but it's not much. It's like we're happy that there's a successful launch, but it's like right back to work. Like we didn't even really celebrate at all at the studio when the game first came out and we're seeing copies because we were so worried about servers,
Yeah.
number one. And we had guys working overnight for the servers.
Yeah, I bet so. I definitely want to get into that. I do, since I only have an hour. We got to respect your time. I want to take a little time though to get to know you a little bit because I mean on podcasts that's what you do, right? Like we're supposed to get to know each other and hang out a little bit. So I want to talk a little bit about like you getting into this industry and stuff. But first and foremost, like what games do you play? Are you a gamer? Like it has to have like that had to get you into the industry, right? Like what do you play?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, the last so many years, I either normally just play with my kids, so we're playing like Smash Brothers, uh,
Yeah.
Mario Kart. I was playing WWE 2K, the newest one with them recently because I love
Awesome.
making your own character and just having fun. Uh, and then if I don't want to, it's funny because even like my own game, like Gray Zone Warfare, like I love tactical shooters. My favorites are the Ghost Recons, and it's not even close. Ghost Recon is my favorite tactical series, and every time they make a new one, I'm always like, ugh, uh, no, it's still good, but no, because I love the new ones, but I love like the old school Ghost Recon 1 and 2, the Graws. I
Mhm.
actually really like Future. I love Ghost Recon so much that I'm still like I even like Future Soldier. I was even at
Yeah.
MLG.com, Major League Gaming quote, where everyone thinks they're a pro player and we were top 50, but we still weren't great. And um, but now if I have like any time that I have spare time, it's normally either playing with the kids or once in a while I'll jump in and I'll play something totally different of a tactical game and I'll play like some Metroidvania games because I love Metroidvania.
Nice.
Mm.
Yep, that's
So
awesome.
it's probably not what people were expecting, but that's the truth. And as much as I love the game that Gray Zone Warfare, you'd be surprised how little time I even have to play our own game.
Yeah,
No,
I bet you're
for sure,
super
for
busy.
sure.
There's no time to sit down. I remember I was looking at like one of Devil Dog's tweets during all that. He's like, man, maybe by next week I'll be able to play it a little bit. It's just you guys are probably just buried.
I didn't want to break it to him, but once you start really working hard and working in this industry,
Yeah.
you're going to realize you can't keep that same routine, especially in the week of launch.
Right.
And then we have
Uh-huh.
families, right? So like if I
Yeah.
had extra time, it might be different. But my man, if I may go on a tangent, gentlemen, you
Go
The
know,
for
floor
it.
is
when I
yours.
was when I was married, I'm still married, but when
Oops.
we were younger years, I would game till like 2, 3 in the morning, whether it's playing Ghost Recon, the old school Rainbow Six, like Vegas games.
Yeah.
This is more going to show my age too, right? And I don't know. Once in a while, like Halo 3, it was the only Halo I was good at, and would play really late. Wake up 9, 10 o'clock, and I'm prioritizing more. Like I literally even had at the sales job I had, to be honest, I was prioritizing more of the gaming schedule I had than my own family. I'm just being honest, And my wife was very patient, man. But then I realized, like, look, I'm been married for over 20 years now, and when I have that extra time at night, it's with it's with her.
Mhm.
Unless she falls asleep and I want to get like a few hours of sleep and play games. But hey, this guy ain't getting any younger. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I feel that. Yep, that's awesome. Yeah, family changes stuff. Like um had my first child last year, and then our second one's on the way. Just found out we're having a girl in October, so pretty hyped
Amazing.
about that and terrified. But yeah, it changes everything. I feel like, so being like a comms manager or a community manager is like a fairly obscure career. I don't feel like there's that many people that do that. How did you like come across this job and find yourself in the position and realize that this is something you wanted to tackle? Because it's got, I mean, you just alluded to like how much goes along with the job.
So yeah, I've worked on both sides of the coin, working with creators, working on the dev side. When I first started, I was community manager and at Warhorse Studios. So I started with Kingdom Come Deliverance, and if you know anything about that game, it was a similar experience where you had to release the game at some point. You can't just keep delaying the game. Where of course that was a little bit different because there were longer stretches of delays. And then the PR manager started like helping, like he started having me work more into the PR role. So I started doing presentations at conferences, events, like you know, getting more on podcasts and just being more of, because I was more of that hybrid CM PR, and they're not technically the same thing. So with this job, I literally reached out to Merrick or Mara and on LinkedIn and told him like I'd love to work on a tactical shooter game. Like I love the tactical shooter genre, at least more the old school tactical shooters, because like I said, as time went on, I didn't play like I used to. But then it took like a year or so, and I actually, when I started the company, my position was head of community. But I've kind of like just I realized the work that was going to need to be done, and I just immediately put myself in the PR and comms director rather than, and there's nothing wrong with the community management position, but now we have 3 community managers that work with us. And I kind of like bumped my way into this other role because I knew we needed someone to head up communications. We needed someone to work with creators to really help get the message spread, because this head of community wasn't going to be enough. And I'm thankful that Mara, he knows like what people are good at, and then he lets you run with it. And so as soon as I got in this company, there was no slowing down. We had a month to prepare for the launch, or the first like launch trailer, or not
Really?
launch trailer, but the first trailer.
That's
Mhm.
It
wild.
was insane. It was insane, and I just kind of worked my way into this role. I love, my favorite part of the job is people. Like I really mean that. I love working with people. You're gonna get to know me. You're gonna get to know the things that probably aren't so great either, because I don't like to hide things. I like you to see face value who I am, and sometimes that's great, and sometimes maybe it's not. But at least you know what you're working with, and Mara, that's how Mara is too.
Yeah, I can tell. There's been a lot more transparency with this game than we've seen a lot in the past. I feel like, which has been really cool to see. And man, it feels like everything was at warp speed. Like, because you hear him talk about how the map was built in like a year, and like it's been fast, man. Usually you hear about a game like this and you don't get to play it for like 5 years. So yeah, it's been crazy to see how fast it's come together.
Yeah, it's oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you another question. If you have more to add, go ahead.
All I was gonna say is that when I first went there, I had one of the community managers. Actually, he was an office manager, and we saw the potential in him, and now he's a community manager. It's Foxek or Michael. And anyway, um, he told me, he's like, the guys, they put in so much work here in Gals that even the junior levels would be seniors somewhere else, because they're
Mm.
so committed. They're good at what they do, and when they move quickly. And we have a lot to work on. Believe me, I could even tell you stories of some of the issues we ran into. I have no problem telling you that, because they have nothing to hide. But I will say that you're not, you don't always see hot fixes or things happen so soon. It's not that anyone isn't capable. I'm just saying these guys have certain mojo about them, energy, and the way they work together and their passion. That's why people are saying, "Hey, get some rest, guys," because it's hard for them not to work because they love what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine how crazy it'd be, because like, and we'll get into it later, but talking some big numbers, lots of people hopping in the game, lots of people purchasing the game, and I definitely want to get that in a little bit, but I want to try to go chronological a little bit. Um, so was there a time when you saw the game early on, because you likely saw it before most other people? Um, was it were, was there ever a moment where you're like, holy cow, this game is like they have something here, like this could be really big? Was there a moment like that when you saw early builds?
Yeah, but it wasn't so much based off like when I first played, I remember being at the studio because Mara's like, "Why don't you just come fly here and do your little do onboarding?" So I was there for like 7, 8 days or something like that, and I remember playing it, and I'm like, "Man, I can't like I what I'm playing right now is something that I've always wanted. I've always wanted an environment like we'll just say Wildlands or like Far Cry, even some of the older Far Cries, the jungle, the beautiful environment, and I always wanted a game that because I do like PVE, but I definitely like PvP in general more. And so to have this kind of a game, like I would have loved to have a game like Wildlands, but with PvP as well in it. You know what I mean? So the environment is my favorite. I'm not a fan like of games that are just like cold tundra. Although there is a game that starts with M, a shooter. What is it? It's a darker tone, and I actually really do like it. And there's a series of them. I hate when I get to this age and I can
Metro?
think of Metro. I love those games, and I love the
Mm.
brutal challenge, but I'm not a fan in general of, like, a cold environment. So I
Mm.
love the but I love the game though, but I really like this environment. I love the unknown aspects, and then also we talk, and we have an ideas of what it's gonna look like in the future, and it's hard to I can talk about that all we want, but until you guys see it, you're only seeing 20 to 30% of the game,
Yeah.
so
It will. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into all the questions that I'm going to ask that you can't answer about the future of the game, but like
Oh,
maybe
that's
I'll
fine.
get you to slip up, and it'll
Maybe.
be. We'll see. We'll see. It'll be a fun
Maybe.
game. It'll be a mini game. But yeah, you and Foxic and Devil Dog and like your comms team have been some of the best I've seen. Like, yeah, you guys kill it. So this job and communication and like the stress involved and everything, what is the thing that you like the most about it?
Oh, what do I like the most about it? Um, I think number one, it has to be the team because you can have a good game, you can have even a good plan, but if you don't have a good team, then you will suffer, And when you have a good team, you can go a long way. So I love the team camaraderie, even though I'm working remotely. You know, I love that the team works close together. Dude, we have our disagreements. I mean, sometimes I'm like, man, that's crazy talk, or like there's sometimes like Rick, stick to what you do. I'll stick to what I do. But like, you can say that, like, you can talk and feel more comfortable to be yourself. For close friends, close family, they're not afraid to tell each other how they feel, and they can be more direct. That's how this team is. It's healthy that way, and you don't, it's not like putting on a mask. So that's number one. Number two is working with creators and people that help promote the game because it's working with people. So my favorite aspects are the people, way more than the game itself, because we know where we're at because of the support we've had. It's not just a good game. It's because the word's gotten out there by so many of you guys. And that's why we do what we do. That's why we talk so much about creators because most of the people that heard about the game are because of you guys. So I love working with the people. That's my favorite part.
All right. So then on the flip side, what's the worst part? And I would guess it's like maybe when Mara's like doing a live stream or just tweeting off the cuff. Does that terrify you? But
I have woken up to think. I'm like, why? Mara, I have so much to do. Why?
but
Just puts more work on the plate.
100%.
No, the worst part is my own ego because we might say we might give like the right good responses and stuff, but sometimes like no matter how good you feel you're at something, you have to remember that we remind ourselves that when people talk about the game, especially if they're talking about it in a way that you're like, man, you put a lot of time into the game, and it can be difficult when you see things being said, but we have to remember something. Would we rather have the game be talked about? Would we rather have the people being frustrated because they want the game to be good? Yes, we would.
Mhm.
Yes, we would. So more and more, like the biggest issue is our own egos at the end of the day, right? So like and I don't mind sometimes when I have to put in extra hours. It can be tough on the family, but like when you see the fruit of the labor, it's when the game's being talked about, and it's all these things. So the hardest part is just like if you let your own ego get in the way because there's so much about this industry that's amazing, and I always feel like a kid at heart, and I think that's how you can be successful in this gig. Don't forget where you came from. Be empathetic, get your ego out of the way because this isn't about you. It's something much bigger than that. It's even more bigger than the game itself, and build a real community. So just it doesn't matter, and that's the point. Even with what people say, like it's nice to work with the people we have, but it is tough at the same time when we knew that it was going to be difficult with the release. And then, because I'm telling you, I wish you guys were there and were a fly on the wall with the conversations we had about getting the servers ready. And the guy who had to fly in, we literally picked him up at Vienna and got him so we could spend a couple more extra hours with our servers getting ready. And it was so hard to plan for it. And also because it's very expensive. You can't just get all these extra servers and say you're ready. So there's honestly that part and deadlines I have no problem with. I feel like I thrive off pressure.
Mhm.
It's just I got to get out of my own way. This is about the team. This is about people. And that's how you do well.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
awesome.
kind of a big response, but it's the truth,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you do that? Like, how do you balance work and family life? Because I struggle with that. Because we're in like one income now with my wife staying at home, so like also trying to do like create content like over my lunch. Like my first Gray Zone Warfare video I made was like after the trailer launched over my lunch break. Like I'm doing that kind of stuff, so I have a hard time like balancing with family. How do you handle that stuff?
I have a lot of windows, and I get to look outside a lot.
Try to get some
Yeah.
sunlight that way. Yep. Yep.
But I'll tell you something, and this is something that I have with my friend that we don't always do it because there's been times where I've woken up and early even and have put some work in because we had to get things done. But I'm telling you, there's nothing greater than having somebody that you can wake up with, and him and I we spend time praying, just being men, talking about things, talking about our families, being there for one another. I love it. I love to have that like a prayer partner guy, and we do that and we chill. And when I do that, it can help start the day off. Because if you go right into rush mode and speed mode or hashtag grinding, I'm telling you that's not always the way to go, man. Like don't brag about the grind. The grind is just something that just comes with being good at what you do.
Mhm.
The grind is nothing special. That's just something that if you want to do a good job, you better be willing to do it. Don't brag about it. For me, it's like if I want to be able to keep up with that grind and have a healthy family, then there's times where I can take breaks during the day and I can come back a little later. But I gotta have number one that time where my mind has to be slowed down. I have to have that time alone.
Mhm.
And I don't however people want to take it. Yeah, I'm a very spiritual guy. I think it's very important. But also then at night I make sure, and my wife reminds me, especially the phone, putting it somewhere so that we can have time together. That can have time with the kids. Like I would recommend leaving your phone in the other dang room because otherwise you're going to find yourself going over and picking it up. So
Mhm.
that's another
Mhm.
thing as well. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Gotta
I
have
do that too.
quiet time though. Gotta have
That's
quiet.
always
Sure.
a big problem, especially like content creation. Like, answer some comments, like see what's going on. You just like always want to
Refreshing
do
for
more.
notifications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Rick tweeted what happened. You always gotta like
Yeah,
check the
right.
phone, man.
Ah,
Yeah, so the next thing I was gonna get closer to timeline wise, like how was launch week, man? Like what the devs did, and like from your point of view, like kind of watching all that stuff going on, and you're probably like
yeah.
watching socials and keeping track of like what's being said and the videos out. Like what was it like just being there, and like what kind of like hours were those guys putting in and stuff, guys and girls?
Well, the team like Riki, which that's her Discord name. She's known pretty well in the community because she's like a shadow, like ninja community manager type thing. Like she's awesome with the community. Her and some of the other guys like Johanny, and the list goes on of guys who literally were staying overnight. Like I said on the servers, that was tough. And trying to order food and bring it in. Meanwhile, um, you have like Adam, our lead designer, and this guy, and he would never talk about it himself, but he has a family, but he's like staying there. He'll be there like 8, 9, leave at 11, 12, 1, 2, 3 in the morning. And then it's not only that, but even before that time, I can almost always reach the guy if I need and they're 6 hours ahead. So I'll ask him about stuff because you know, the thing that's amazing with the team is this level of communication because anybody can talk to anybody at any time. We have that kind of level of access, and it's really important. But man, during the week, it was really, like I said, it was amazing. It was brutal because it's like a universal truth. If you don't get a lot of sleep and you're getting less than like 5 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, I think we were averaging like at best for hours.
Jeez.
And some are not. But hey, look, it goes both ways. If we feel like we have to release at a certain time, we also have to be willing to put in the time, right? And you have the boss, even himself, stressed, nervous because this is his baby, right?
Yeah.
Baby, and you have the marketing team. You think, these guys do a couple emails. Like, no, we get thousands of messages in our and the thing is, I was like, guys, we're keeping our messages wide open. And I also told them, you don't have to answer every one of them. You don't.
Mhm.
You don't. You can you know what? And people might even get offended by saying this, but yeah, sometimes we have to cherry pick them because if
Yep.
we make an announcement about bugs and hot fixes, there's no time we have to go in every individual one, which is why in Discord we have our support. We have to have these systems in place because otherwise we'll never get like you have to also think ahead and be working and planning for the future. So, and the marketing end and the PR end, we have the Dom, and he's working on getting all the additions right with Steam, making sure everything is the way they were. And I can't even tell you, it's not easy. It's not Valve is fine. They're great, but like the whole process of getting everything up on Steam and making sure it has the right assets, it has to have the right this, the right that, blah 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 blah. And also, we're working on our website overhaul right now. He's working on that. Meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to disperse all the keys because let's face it, most people that are going to request keys probably aren't going to likely get one. And yet we've given out thousands. Excuse me, like we've actually I feel like we've been kind of generous. I mean, I'm not saying we're the example. I'm just saying we've tried to give out keys where we can and it's tough. Um and then you're planning a lot of things. So ultimately, I would do it all over again. I promise you, I would do it all over again because we're happy where things have gone, but we're also now starting to get to the point where some guys can take a little bit of a rest, even though we have a lot to work on. Like, hey, this guy's going to take 48 hours off. This guy's going to take a day off. I know it sounds like we should get a week off or something, but we can't afford that. They just need a little bit of a break. They have a bank holiday tomorrow in the Czech Republic. They
Mhm.
ask if we have bank holidays. I'm like, bank holidays?
What's that?
What is that? If anything, the bank just they want more money from us. They don't want to give us any time off. But they yeah, so I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys. I mean, with the launch, you guys crushed it. I mean, we were all. I think we had the show the day before the launch or 2 days before the launch, something like that. And we were talking about it. And I think like the main concern everyone was having was the servers.
Yep.
Which you guys knocked that out of the park.
Yeah.
I was watching everyone play. I mean, I know some people were having some issues here and there, but I mean, overall, I mean, the example we used on the show that week, right before you launched, is like as long as it's not a World War III situation, and I mean, from looking from the outside in, I haven't been able to play it because I need to upgrade my PC still. But like watching, Crash and Blue and everyone else in the community and people on my Discord, just everyone for the most part's had a great experience. So you guys did a great job. I mean, we saw you guys tweeting, pulling the all nighters and everything, and the amount of hot fixes and patches and work that was going on 24/7. During that first week was insane. So definitely knocked that out of the park, and especially people need to understand like it's still early access. I mean, you guys are putting in that many hours. It seems like everything's from the outside looking in, looking really good so far.
Yeah, that's what
Uh,
I just remember. I remember those conversations we were having on the show, like right before it launched, and I was just like, man, I just want to be able to play it. Like, I just want to get through the game loop. I want it to be like stable enough because we're talking about even the big like. And I'm stupid, so I don't understand this stuff. But even the biggest games have server trouble at launch. Like that's just
Call of
and to have like
Duty
a
has
smaller
trouble every
studio work
year,
on
yeah.
that. So it was from my end, it was totally expected. And to be able to still play the game for quite a few hours on launch day with some issues, but it was to be expected. I was happy to be able to get through the game and still play.
yeah, we still are working in some servers though in like Asia, in South America. Sometimes Western or Eastern Europe can suffer a little bit, and then but and I hate it too because like the more I meet people all over the globe, again, I love that, and I have some really cool guys I talk to in South America, and it's like, I know, I promise you, I'm like, I literally am messaging the guy. Like, we're definitely gonna see what we can do to expand the capacity and stuff. By the way, I see. Forgive me again to pronounce his name, Mr. Rodavostik.
Auntie,
Auntie. He's here, so it's an honor. And Toby Creates, love you, dude.
yeah.
Guten Tag. I know Guten Tag. Yeah? I think it's morning.
Yeah, I
His
think
time. Yeah, it
so.
is.
I
It's
think
crazy,
so.
man.
No, they're like, what, 5-6 hours ahead East Coast. But
Yeah, yeah.
I was
So it's
just
early morning.
because you mentioned, for the ones that can't have access to, sadly due to connection issues or even performance hardware and stuff like that. How are you guys handling that side of like the negativity of the people that just can't run the game, that just can't seem to get it running even with decent rigs?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's true. Well, for starters,
No, I'm
let's
curious
talk about
yeah, go for it.
yeah. So for starters, man, when you see that, at least from my perspective, you always hate seeing it because you know, especially if someone's got some cash, got some goods, some items they have, keys, and all of a sudden, boom, crash gone. It's all gone, and they come back. It's not. It's a lot. It's not. So that's tough. Sometimes, depending on if you're safe exit, you can come back with the same gear, but it's really come back to bite people. From my perspective, is that look, we get the intel from the guys and gals, we see what they're working on, and we are constantly working. Like even the community managers, they I'm constantly working on ways. We're all working on ways where we can communicate these things, and then also at the same time, while that's happening, just try and stick to the basics because we can't fix it. Like the marketing team can't. So when we see all these bugs, I have the community managers who take
Mhm.
it, and we get a feedback report, and it's like oh my goodness, you should have seen Devil Dog. It's going through thousands of tickets,
I
right?
saw that. Yeah.
Thousands, and this
Yeah.
is not all copy pasta, as they say. This is even like being like on a bigger scale, with like the servers, that all we can do is forward it to the team, and all they can do is, of course, it's not just money, it's also figuring out their coding and their magic, which I have no idea how that works, guys. I would not, all I know is I see them on the computer, I see them talking and huddling up, and they're like, for example, let me give you an example. The Johanny, and I hope he doesn't kill me for just saying this, but like he was staying up all night and he's doing coding at 5 in the morning, and all of a sudden the heads were gone. And I'm not trying to like we're not trying to make excuses by that, but like, he when you have an indie studio with, we have around 70 of us, and you building this size of the game, it's a very small team for that size of a game.
Hmm.
So like when you're looking at, it would be ideal to have 20, 30 people constantly testing and playing the game. QA team, right?
Right.
QA team, I can look at a little corner and see a handful of people, and that's it. So the way that we handle these things is we have the 3 hot fixes. We have a patch on the way. We're even hoping as early as next week, which would fix a decent amount of things. And some of these things, Blue, is that the truth is we couldn't completely know until we had a bigger audience playing the
Right.
game.
For sure.
And there's a lot of ways that could go. Why didn't you do it sooner? Well, there's a big reason for that too, is because you would have to pay for all these extra servers to handle that kind of capacity. And then
Mhm.
it's like, well, how many? And I'm just telling you, it's like when I'm being on this side and being on that side, I'm always trying to remind myself though, remember when you played Halo, and remember when you played some of these other games you loved, and the server issues, or when you had bugs, how was I when I was a gamer? So the best we can do, and we're not perfect at it, but is trying to stay humble. And yet we still at the same time, like socially, still the game exists. So we're still talking about ways of still sharing content, people's content, even though some aren't having a great time. Because honestly, this is a game that's a game as a service, guys. And when we come out with other updates, we're probably going to mess up a little bit along the way as well. And we're going to have to fix something else. So it's an ongoing thing. And ultimately, all we can do is keep our chin ups, keep working with the community, and not go away. When we screwed up with the heads and the missing items, there was no radio silence. So all we can do is keep grinding and keep going forward.
No, and I saw today you guys announced that should be hopefully
It's
fixed for a
resolved.
lot of players. Yeah.
It's resolved, yeah.
So do you think this is a next gen title? Do you, when you hear that term, do you think Gray Zone is that next gen of for Unreal Engine 5? Especially with the whole like Scala, proprietary stuff. And I don't know how much you could talk about that, but just curious more
Yeah.
from like, the technical perspective. Is it like, is it some kind of like PCG workflow perhaps, or is it more of just because I'm very curious about when I see
Yeah.
that, because you guys put that front and center. You put that when you launch the game, you see Scala, which I love the logo,
Yep.
so
Yeah, so there's two things. As far as next gen, I mean, that's kind of hard to say yes to that because Unreal Engine 5, anybody can have access to it, right?
Mhm.
It's not about the engine alone. It's about the people that are working behind it. And here's
Mhm.
another thing. Unreal Engine 5 is great because it allows us to do a lot of more of the dynamics from the more of the impact from the realistic ballistics to the bullets whizzing by and you see the vegetation moving, that sort of thing.
That stuff's
And
crazy.
but the Scala, the reason why we put that at front and center is because if we didn't have Scala, you would just see random algorithms of trees. You wouldn't even get nowhere near close to what we'd have in the game without Scala. So if you want trees, if you want, like, we literally had people that live in Southeast Asia right now that say that this
Mhm.
game, it makes them feel like they're home because the environment is true to their nature.
Correct.
When I
Yeah.
worked at
Yeah.
Warhorse, we had our own engine that had Czech trees in the game. So kind of cool, right? Working for two Czech companies. We didn't just want to compute this algorithm that would be more artificial. Excuse the pun there, I guess. But the point is, the Scala engine has helped to do the vastness and the density that we're able to do in the game. So yeah, we first were kind of quiet about it because it's like we want to try to be more about show and tell than just tell you. And then when we started getting the devlog out there about Scala and then showing the game, then. But as far as next gen, we need to get a good working game first to even dare talk about next gen for us. So, we got a lot to do. We're
Okay.
20 to 30%. I wouldn't, we're not a triple A game. We're hardly a double A because it's even hard to classify us, right? We're a self-publisher, so
Yeah.
we're trying,
Yeah,
but
what
I
are you?
wouldn't
What are
call
you
it.
doing?
I don't know. You tell me.
uh, I don't know. Making a pretty fun game so far, in my opinion.
We're trying. We're
All
trying.
right. So I don't have a ton of time with you. I gotta respect your time. I want to get into some of the like Blue already touched on it too, like some of the like what's going on now stuff. The overarching thing for me is like I want to see what this vision is. We keep hearing that like 20 to 30% of the game is what we see. And I want to see 1.0, right? I'm very curious to see what
Oh.
1.0 is. So, and to get there in my head, I know that you guys have to be able to get patches out, keep the game relevant, have enough funding to do so to keep, everyone paid and working and stuff like that. So, and you don't have to answer this. We talked a little bit about it beforehand, but like at over 700, thousand sales, are we feeling good? Like, is that expectations? Are we like on track to keep pushing forward with this game?
So on the one hand, we're incredibly ecstatic, right? Like,
Amazing.
we're not launching on consoles, and it's just early access, and it's just I think today, maybe technically is like 7.5 days in now. It's exceeded our expectations, to be honest. Yet at the same time, I feel like I thought we were going to have a really strong start because of all the support, and um, but every time that we have a little celebration, we'll put something in the chat about how many copies we sold because if you think about it, to see the fruit of your labor is very rewarding, right?
Mhm.
It's rewarding if you're planting seeds and you're seeing, you're reaping the benefits in the fall and harvest. It's the same thing in this industry. You know what I'm saying? Like you want to see the fruit. And we've seen that. But like you said, about 20 to 30% done, there is not a lot of time to celebrate. Like we have to put that back into the game and into the team. So, I think that, even a year from now, Gray Zone Warfare is going to be a different, maybe not a like a completely different game, but it's going to have a different feel because it's going to evolve,
Mhm.
and some
Mhm.
things that we've talked about, like no one knows what we're working on for Ground Zero, right?
Just tell
And it's
us.
going to be some, yeah, sure.
Come on. Come on.
Let's spill the beans, yeah.
We've all seen
Easy.
that, we've all seen that, that roadside picnic book in there. Okay.
Yep. Indeed. And as guys may be aware, there's 4, 5, 6 other games out there that actually have some inspiration from Roadside Picnic, and everyone takes it differently. Yeah,
Blue knows.
Stalker, little,
Ugh. Oh, I'm so
of course.
excited, man.
But I can at least say this because it's already been found. Someone did find an anomaly in the play
Rilo.
button.
It was Rilo's video, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I knew it. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
wow.
So that hey, Hey, that's a little scoop for you boys.
There you go.
Breaking.
I like it though. Very
It's about as far as I'll
it's
take that
interesting.
one. So when you think about no, who's Chad? Stop being Chad. No aliens.
I'm just thinking the History Channel,
I'm not-
guy with the crazy hair, aliens.
yeah, I can at least I will tell you it will definitely not be like aliens or anything. I will tell you that, but I will say that the dynamics of the game will change when you're adding in not just like because the anomalies will be fun, right? Because they're very unpredictable. Um,
Very much so. Yeah.
when I was before I started working for the company, I was doing all this research and I'm reading these anomalies. I'm like, what? Sorry, guys, I don't mean to like. If you guys are
Like,
watching,
that's
I'm
a
not trying to
what a
overhype.
tease, dude.
I know it's a little bit. At least we're discussing it. But I'm like,
For sure.
okay,
For sure.
okay, this could really make things interesting. And but the reason why we're not talking a lot about that now is because the immediate
Mhm.
future is like, hey, we want to add in the day and night cycle,
Yeah,
and that's going
correct.
to change
Yeah.
the game because even we want the AI to do different things at night. We want you to tackle different different approaches and stuff. But we before that might take a little longer than expected because we have to really get the optimization there, boys. Like,
Right.
I mean, not
that,
even just the day and night, the dynamic weather that you guys want to
that-
eventually add
yeah,
into. Rain will mess up PCs alone,
yeah, yeah. So there's going to be a lot of challenges because we actually want it to be like the weather elements affect how you play. Like mud, you're going to take a lot of longer time to go through mud, fog, steam, whatever, and all that sorts of stuff. But we need to optimize it so people are having better FPS, of course. There are like Intel issues that there are fixable like right away, right now. And we've actually communicated that. We actually have the like fixes talked about for that. We also have certain settings, FSR, DLSS, whatever. But the bottom line is, especially if you have a good PC, that's going to fall on us. There
Mhm.
are some people that are trying to play it, and it's like, guys, I'm sorry, but when you have Unreal Engine 5 and our Sky Engine, you're going to have to upgrade your PC. There's no two ways about it. But when you have a good PC and you're not getting good performance, that falls on us. So we need to get these things right.
Yeah, for sure. Is there kind because like updates are going to be like the biggest thing, right? And optimization is huge. Is there kind of a cadence that people can expect for updates that you're able to share? Like any kind of like just big picture, like a bird's eye view of cadences of updates, like how often?
Well, we had a plan in the beginning, which was basically we even had it on the screen if you were playing the preview test, which all three of you guys, Buff, I can't remember. I don't even think
No,
you weren't able
no,
to play.
I'm rocking a 1660, so now
Yeah,
I'm out for a while.
you need to do some workout competition, make some extra cash, bro, so we can get you going.
I'm
OnlyFans.
trying. I need to get OnlyFans. Yeah, some
Yo,
people want to see some feet pictures. Probably we'll do that.
but yeah, so we had it in there that we talked about like actually wiping a faction every 3 months, and then Mara stated openly about doing some sort of a wipe every 6 months, right? And because we knew that even though we had the text there, like we knew that there would be people choosing factions, and that's a whole nother topic that we can get talk about another time. But bottom line is like we had a plan for every 3 months. We would maybe put in some kind of update along with not just changing factions, like maybe also factions changing bases, right? So Mithras would move up instead of staying down in the center, at the bottom.
Interesting.
And we
Yeah.
rotate.
That's cool.
That probably is still a thing, by the way. And then not just because wipe is critical for so many reasons. I recently was talking to Insider Gaming. I'm like, I don't even know the full scope of what this wipe looks like right now because we already changed our perspective on. Again, if you guys were flying the wall, you would see some things you guys say like we're in your guys' corner, but we also know with the devs it takes time. Like, hey guys, look, they're not going to read, especially creators. They don't read anything. No offense, guys. I'm like,
hate
you're not going to read
reading.
the text. I know. And I always say that. I always mess with everyone. That's why I literally email you guys. Then I do an announcement in Discord. And then I DM y'all. I don't just DM like one or two of y'all. I DM all of you guys because I know you get too many messages anyway. But people are not going to read the text. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. So we had to make this button. And they got it done. They got it done fast. And there's reasons why we didn't want faction changes. Like right now, it can be, I don't want to go into this too much, but people always find ways to exploit things. So now
Yes.
we want to change the cooldown time on it. So
Mhm.
what does that do? When we listen to community feedback, it needs to happen. because this is a community-driven game. But that also means when we do these things, these other things that might come a little sooner, we just have to table it a little bit because we need to focus on the primary concerns.
Hmm.
So with that long-winded answer, I can just tell you that like even Blue was touching on because I know he's, I know you guys know what's up anyway. The first updates that people can expect, like that's a bigger update, would include, at the very least the day and night cycle, and the weather would soon follow. It just depends on, like there's even things we want to work with creators and avoid the stream sniping nonsense and
Hmm.
things that we know.
Yeah, I
we-
mean, especially what when Crash in his recent video about checking out the whole anybrain.gg, correct? Is that how you pronounce that? The AI anti cheat, and there's a couple videos now floating around of cheaters now, and I know you guys we're expecting that. I mean, so like any other PC game out there, there's always going to be cheaters. Just curious, what's your, I guess the PR way of going about that of addressing those issues,
Yeah, well, let's put it this way. Anything that you guys see, there's a really good chance that we've already known or prepared. You know what I mean? And
For sure.
it is
Yeah.
hard to prepare though when it comes to hacking and whatnot. I can just tell you that the AnyBrain, that is something that we do have. It's obvious. It's right there in the files. Anybody can see it. And
Really
all
cool
I
that you
can
guys
say
brought
is,
that in.
yeah, all I can say, I guess for now is that we're aware, we're handling it. We've already taken care of some things. We'll put it that way.
Mhm.
And the bottom line is it's infuriating to us as much as anybody because at the top they sell these
Yeah.
codes. It's all about money. And
Yeah.
and then people play it
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
attention, whatever it may be, then they, and do other things. But yeah, I can just tell you that we've had plans. We've had some things in place for a long time now. We just need to we have a strategy and we just need to stick to that. So
That's awesome to hear. I mean, that's all
Yeah,
we can
seriously.
expect to hear, right? Like just that you guys are working on it and moving. Cause like I can't
Yeah.
imagine the problem with cheaters is right, they make money at it. So when there's that monetary thing for the cheat developers to chase, like that's what they're gonna do. It
Mhm.
sucks. I hate it so much. But it was cool to see AnyBrain because it's been probably over a year or two. I always think that something that happened like last month or is something that happened last month is actually happened like 2 years ago. But a while ago, basically Homeless did that video about AnyBrain anti-cheat, and I've been just excited to see it and hopeful for it. Like I just feel like it's like a little glimmer of hope against cheaters. So I hope it works. And it was cool to see one of my favorite games implement it. Excited to see.
Yeah, Crash has been waiting for some game to bring in.
These guys
some
have heard me
Eddie
talk
Brain
about it
into
for years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, just know that, what happens is when we hear reports, then the community managers are on it. I cannot tell you. I mean, these guys, the CM role that can be tossed around, that title, right? But these guys literally are working constantly. Corey in his off time, he's on Twitch, and then now he's even playing Gray Zone on his off time, Devil Dog, or then Foxic, or even Tom, who is doing community management work on the other end. These guys are constantly thinking of ways how we're like always like you guys even know. Let's be real. Even in our Discord, we have a VIP section for you guys, so we have support at that level. We have support for the players, and I'm very proud of our team and how they handle things.
So
Definitely.
what's being looked at like quality of life stuff? So some of the things that my community brought up, and I'll kind of go rapid fire on this to see just if you guys are looking at it and it could be planned for the future, because I had a lot of questions in my Discord. So chopper changes to help be more efficient, keybinds for VoIP, also stash sorting, maybe a beacon for your dead body, and new weapon platforms. Start with those if you can remember all that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, all these suggestions are already brought up to the team, like ADS slider. That's another one, yeah.
Yep.
VoIP rebind, toggling keys. Like these are things that we want to actually bring into an update soon. Whether that's like who knows the exact timetable on that, but yeah, these
Right.
are things we want to bring in. As far as the Little Bird, we there's a couple things. So one is we've tested over and over again, but then we have to remember when you have 16 players that are playing and the faction's full, and if they're not playing together, and you have like one guy like who calls in the little bird. It's like he doesn't wait for the other three or squads up, right? That little bird's taking
Mhm.
off. So we're working on splines, like more routes potentially. We are working on maybe being a little bit more controlling of where you can land some little things, and we need to see what's going to work the most. When I got to admit, it's always funny when someone's like, "Look, I got a simple fix." I'm like, "Brother, I can tell you, we have 10 simple fixes that might take a month. They just take 30
Yeah.
days. It's a simple fix.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
30 days because
It's a long time. Yeah.
I don't
if
feel
you
like
work on.
there's
Here's the thing that'll like we have something called freezes, a feature freeze. Because
Mhm.
anytime you add a feature in, do you know what you take the risk of?
breaking other
Breaking
stuff.
everything else in the
Breaking something
build.
else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you take the risk of causing another problem. So we have to sometimes do a feature freeze so that we can just focus on what we're fixing, and then we can bring in these other features. You can't always just do it all at once. It doesn't work that way.
No,
Right.
or you
Um,
can't consistently do it over and over again. And you're just gonna keep breaking
yeah,
it. Yeah.
you just keep breaking it, and then you have to dig deeper and dig deeper. But yeah, I can just tell you that of course we definitely want it to be where it's not as long of a flight. I will say though, at the same time, that sometimes it's also something that work together with the people you have faction or squad up so that you guys can travel together. There are going to be times where it's like, you know what, it is okay to walk. Like our game is a slow paced game, so yes, we want to improve it. It does need to be improved, but I do think at the same time that you know the game is a sandbox, and I've seen people play it. I'll be honest, even ways that I'm like, dang, that's a cool approach. Oh, I like that. And but I also think at the same time, and this ties into like LZ camping and stuff. We've been working on all these things, so we have to like kind of tackle some of these things one thing at a time. But I can just assure you that when you guys have these concerns, we're thinking the same ones because we see you guys out there, and we know it's something that needs to be worked on.
For sure. Um, what about Foxic kind of talked a little bit that crafting's coming to the game, like that kind of came out in a tweet. Is there anything you can share about that? Because one of the things I've heard about and kind of experienced myself is there's not a ton of like loot yet that, and I say yet because I'm pretty sure that it's mentioned that there's stuff coming. There's not a lot of like expensive or valuable loot that people are excited to get. Do you guys expect that to change with crafting, and what could that look like with or within or
Yeah,
without a hideout?
yeah. We also are working on balancing the economy. We are working on instilling more of a gear fear. Because we've always talked about that, right? Like, everything is on the line. So we want to. A lot of it is balances. Well, yeah, crafting. Actually, I'm like, brother, you talked about crafting, man, but like, that's cool, and we definitely want to have that. But we first
There's
also gonna
so much that surrounds it. Yeah.
there's so much that surrounds it because we also want more weapons eventually, right? Like there's a lot of customization you can do, a lot of options to mod your guns, and I love that. I always loved when Ghost Recon first implemented that. I'm like, this is freaking amazing. Um, but I think what we need to focus on first really is a lot of these balancing things to where you do have that gear fear, whether and like you talked about quality of life things like whether there's like a mark or something with a dead body, like there's all these things that for quality of life we need to get in there. But as far as like crafting and stuff, yeah, that'll definitely enhance, give you more like what keeps people coming back to games, right? Loot, um, the high risk reward factor,
Mm-hmm.
and for right now, let's face it, let's be honest about our game. I think, and I'll say this and I'll stand by it. You're not going to find many games that start off at early access with 150 quests.
True.
You're not.
No, it's true.
And that's
Definitely
the approach
not.
we took. Now, we could have taken a different approach. We could have made our game more PvP and we could have focused more on that end. But that's not the vision of Gray Zone. Like, I will tell you, if anybody asks me, I'm more a PvP guy. I will never go in a PvE server. To me, that's blasphemy. For me. For me. And yet, at the same time, when we saw people testing it, we saw that most people were probably around 90-10 to 80-20 PvE to PvP kind of thing. However, the guys and gals that really got out there, they were starting to experience the PvP 30 to 40% of the time because they had all the LZs discovered and
Mm-hmm.
they knew where the target points were to go. So it's based on how you want to play the game. But we need to get these core fundamentals in that we want to add into it that give you more of that reason to come back even after the quests. And we're not
Yeah.
like you finish all. Let's be real. If you finish all the quests, apart from playing a sandbox way, which you can, heck, I love Grand Theft Auto, where I used to play it with my friends, and like we would make up our own scenarios because it's sandbox, like just your own little
Yeah.
fun stories, right? You can do that. You can do that with our game, but and the PvP is great, but we don't have rewards for PvP because again, we're focusing more on the PvE and the quest for now. But there's going to be other things we add in when you add in the camps. You add in 4 different points of interest. It's going to get people to be excited just to even have these camps. And now you can
Camps.
start if you have the camps taken over, you will actually you can stash your gear there, right? As long as you have access to that camp. But then we're going to add in more intelligence with the AI. There'll be AI factions that'll not just be stationary, they'll actually be moving around the map. So they can take over the camps if you're not paying attention. So there is a lot we're going to add to Gray Zone that's going to feel more that MMO living world type experience.
So there's a lot of those areas in the map are going to be that are kind of open right now are going to be taken up with camps. There's going to be AI factions moving around, and it's just going to be all like a lot more stuff going on the map. Is what your guys' goal is?
Yeah, because it's not about making it a bigger map. It's about working more within the map we have. It's a big map.
Yeah, it's a huge map.
Dude,
Yeah.
42 square kilometers. It's already huge as it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we've seen people, if you blow through the quests and whatever, and if you play another game, that's cool. I mean, come on, guys, we're gamers. Like, you don't just. How many
Yeah.
people just stick to one game? If you do, that's great. And believe me, hey, listen, community, stick to Gray Zone only. No, that's love, but like,
Don't play anything else.
like we know people are going to come back and play once we start adding more into the game. But here's the thing:
Definitely.
if you're a developer and you're like, if you can get 80 plus hours out of a player, that's a win. Like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
99% of the developers will agree. If you can get 60, 70, 80 plus hours in a big game, it's an automatic win. It doesn't mean that we can't improve, make things better for the player. But even if I see someone on Steam and they review the game, give it a negative review after 60 hours, we still did something right for them to play 60 hours. I'm sorry, but it can't be that bad if you're putting 60 hours. I would never waste that
True.
much time if I didn't like a game.
What about the people that give
Yeah.
a negative review at 30 minutes? I'm kidding. Don't answer that. I'll
Like-
answer
No,
it.
I'll answer it. I don't like it.
0.1 minute. 0.1 minutes.
And well, here's the thing though, to their, there's so many reasons why that can happen. And I think most of them, it's not like, yeah, you should wait a little bit longer to give a review. However, if you're trying to log in and you're crashing right away or something, and it is something that's on our end, I still don't feel a review is justified necessarily, but at the same time, I can almost understand where they're coming from because they just paid money on a game, and money's tight these days. People are pinching pennies more. You talked about it, Crash. Like, you and me, we work, and our wives, my wife stays home with the family. She homeschools. Look at our place is a mess. I mean, look, it's a mess. Like
Mhm.
you have to watch what you do with your time and your money. So I get the extent of it, but it's like, it's gonna happen, the review thing. So we felt for the Helldivers guys,
Yeah.
Oh,
We were gonna talk about that today a little bit. That was pretty crazy. What happened there, but yeah, I've seen mostly positive stuff from the game, and then just a lot of the performance issue, which you said, and I really think that I've noticed this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, just from the outside looking in as someone who's completely ignorant to how these things work. It's like there's such a fine line between like a true early access game and like launching too early, launching when you need to, right in the pocket. But I'm on board because you guys have been so honest so far with everything and worked so quickly, even from ground zero, no pun intended, of the game. Like, it's only been a year or so since they've been working on that map, and stuff is wild. But I just see that you guys are talking about all the stuff that you're going to add, and I believe you guys, and I think it's going to be really cool to see where the game is a year or two from now. And for like $35 to get you a ticket to that ride is, I don't think it's that bad. Like, I've paid more for less, but that's just me.
Yeah, the timing of things is, and this is the part that, is just reality. You can only like, so we have okay, so there's public delays, yeah, but nobody has any idea how many internal delays there are. Gray Zone Warfare, like, these guys move so fast. They had plans to even, go into early access last year. Like last year. So things
Quarter
happen,
one or before, technically. Yeah.
and yeah, things happen, but then you get to a point where it's like, hey, look, at some point the game has to get out there. In early access does not mean there's not testing. There's still testing, and you bring the community for the ride. So as long as we are in touch with the community, as long as we're actually practicing what we're preaching, and I think 3 hot fixes in a week is good. I
Very good.
definitely give our team credit for that. But at the same time, it's not release date when anymore. It's like I think one of the guys in the chat saying it is Adam Hassam. He was saying something about performance. Yeah, we
Yeah.
hope that we can help a little more with his performances in our first patch. Optimization is incredibly, incredibly important. I mean, it's not fun if you have a good game, but you don't have good performance. It definitely hampers your experience. So
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, man. I get it. Performance is that's why it's hard because like I could talk about all the great things we want to put in the game, and we haven't
Right.
even talked about a
Mhm.
third of them. We got to get the performance down. So that's going to help with the first patch.
Yeah, I'm just
it-
waiting for Gray Zone 2 at this point. Just kidding. Just kidding.
like definitely from an early access perspective, I think you guys are doing it the right way. You hear the term early access a lot thrown around there, but everything you guys are doing is all the support you've had going, since the launch, and everything you just talked about here today with the day-night cycles, everything you guys are currently working on. It is a definition of early access done correctly with what you pretty much mentioned is it's an iterative development cycle going on, and like if you are someone that's going to buy into the early access, you're along for the ride, and like there's a roadmap and plenty to come that they have planned. So I think you guys are crushing it. I'm excited to get my hands on this game, but realistically I did want to ask you because I know it was mentioned right before the launch.
Yeah.
About consoles, because I had a lot of people in my community asking me that. I'm under the assumption that's at least like 3 years. Yeah, that's down the road, out of sight. But it is
Yeah.
on the drawing board for you guys at least.
Yeah, it's
right?
on the drawing board. We want to go to console. We want to get controller support. I'll be honest, I'm not good at the game. I do not like mouse and keyboard, and maybe it's because after putting it. And guys, here's the thing: you want the truth? I've only put in like 40 hours, which you would think developers put in hundreds and thousands or whatever, and some of them do. But for me, like again, I can only do so much. I have, my job is so
Yeah.
being out in the front lines. It's just different. But like my whole point with that is, we just actually I had a point. Where are we going, gents? Where are we going?
Been there.
Consoles, and so
Yeah.
yeah, we really just ultimately like. Oh, there's one of my cats. We definitely want to get to version, or get close to that version 1.0, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if we do something sooner, that would kind of be wild, but it just could be so far off. And my other point too with the controller support is, I would like to start using a controller for the game, but we it's going to take time, but we'll have controller support too.
Well, yeah, and I know one of my buddies is in chat. This Justin, he's using controller now. He did it on his side, and he said it's working perfectly. So he was able to figure out a good layout somehow. But I know he's been
Yeah.
playing it on the controller the whole time. So
Man, these
Oh, yeah,
controller
so-
players, I don't know.
I hear you. Someone else had a good question about offline. I got to be honest, we'll never do offline because with our plans, it has to be online. And that's
Mhm.
why we've said it from the beginning. Our game is more like an MMO. It is not technically just a straight up MMO. It's not just one map, one world,
Yeah.
but it is its own world. And there's going to be so much that we need to have in the game that's live.
yeah,
Even when you're not in the game, you're going to see things happening. So if you have a camp captured, and now we're talking ahead a little bit, I guess we can, and you back out of the server, I don't even know how the balance is going to work yet. But if you have AI factions moving around and stuff, you might want to have some guys cover some hours, some shifts to keep these camps going, right? Because if you leave that server and you go back into the same server,
could be different.
it's going to be different.
Will there
Yeah.
be that
then-
option to be able to find the same server you're in to go back eventually, like a browser or something?
I mean, eventually we want to add in where you can go back into the same server where you can. Hey, I know, come in.
I didn't know if that was yours or mine, so I was looking around. I was like, which one of my cats is that yelling?
Hey, this guy's a cuddler. But eventually, and this could be a little ways out, but eventually, it'd be nice to have like, maybe private servers or something. That could be a long ways out. It's very expensive. Servers are crazy expensive. We will
Yeah,
sometimes
no, you said
do,
that a while ago.
certain things, but we'll see. That's sorry, that was terrible, but that's just we
No,
have
no,
stuff
that's-
we're
that's fine.
planning.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I know we had you for an hour and we're over a little bit time. You got time for one more question before we let you go? Okay. What is the thing that you're most excited to see, like, to come to the game to share? Wow. I'm gonna try that one more time. What's something that you're the most excited to see come to the game, or any surprises that are coming, or teasers or anything?
Honestly, I think what I talked about, you'll see that, and I think I don't want to get into some of the other things. I think not because I don't want to overhype it. I just don't want to. I don't want to. Number one, I don't want to spoil it, and number two, everything that we do is going to be like, and now it's right out to the public, and then we need to see how these things work. But I don't want to overhype this part, but like I do like, and I've never shied from this, man. That like, yes, their game is more PvE focused, but I sure do as heck love the PvP in the game. And I'll be honest, man. Like the more people that actually got the chance to play PvP, in general, they really like it too. In general, and I look forward to seeing more of what we do on that scale.
I,
Um, I said it before, and I'll say it again. It's an important part of the game. So
I was watching some PvP engagements with some creators, and I was just like, that's like you said earlier, is when you first saw this game and played it, it's exactly what you want to play. I'm in the same boat. Just watching this, I'm just like chomping at the bit because I was watching certain creators just in like 45+ minute engagements, and like
Yep.
support choppers are coming in. Like it is
it's crazy.
like a
It's awesome.
battlefield. It's amazing. Yeah. So that like the replay value is just, you're always gonna have a different experience, and
It's-
that's what makes this kind of game just amazing.
yeah, it's because
I'll
it's.
tell you what.
I would just say really quick, it's like truly emergent PvP. You never know
Yeah.
when. You never know. A fight is never going to work out the same way.
Mhm.
And you really don't know what's going to happen, and you have to be kind of ready for anything. That's why it's so cool, because it's like so unpredictable. Okay, sorry.
No, it's cool because I was gonna say that it was funny before the game was out and the preview test was happening. Some people couldn't understand the concept of what's the point of respawning, and it's like, brother, this is an open world game.
Yeah.
You don't have one life in an open world game. You don't have one life in an MMO type game. I mean, any game like that. Can you imagine being in like the world of like The Witcher and having one life? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. This
Stressful
is not a,
experience.
yeah, this is not like a small map with a time limit. There's no time limit. Like, in fact, I think, and this is what we want to do. Where, yes, you already will lose your gear. There is still a risk, but there is that adrenaline rush when you're back in the base and you need to get that freaking chopper to go back out there and help your boys. And that's, I think, a really fun dynamic that you can get back into the fight. We definitely are still like that hardcore shooter, but at the same time, our game is definitely more approachable, and allowing you to come back into the fight and get back in there. And I'll tell you what, the LZ camping thing, we've made improvements, but we're never going to completely get rid of it. We still want you to be careful when you go to Crash. Don't worry, brother. I saw your pain. I saw your video, and it sucked, and that wasn't cool. Because if you can't shoot from the dude, I'll be honest. We had a conversation. Here we go. Here's the story. And this is when we're all tired. I'm like, guys, how can we call? No, this was not me. This was some of us talking. How can we call our game a realistic game if you can't shoot out of the freaking helicopter?
Yeah.
Because we used to have that in there in the little.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was in there, and there was reasons, and we realized that, hey, we made a mistake there. So we put that back in at least, and you have 5 seconds of invulnerability right now.
Mm.
So you at least have it. Now, there's other things we might work on, but we're not going to get rid of it entirely because you can't just feel like you're safe. I'm sorry, but here's the other thing.
Yeah,
What happens
yeah.
when you have people at an LZ and they're calling a little bird, and then the little bird comes in? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick them all off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. 'Cause
Exactly.
I'm
Yeah, you're
Derek.
not just gonna like let them come over and all right to 5 paces, everyone.
No,
Yeah.
no,
You know.
no.
I
that's
tried to
part
do
of the
it.
fun.
I tried to be a gentleman when a chopper came in behind us while we were fighting. And I'm like sitting there just like, man, what do I do? I'm like, this happened to me and it sucked. I'm like, but I can't let him live and like be behind me, able to flank me. So I just had to kill him. And
mean,
like, it's
The
funny.
other thing you can do, and it's really hard to do, and this is something that we want like to see more of, or we've seen more of in like the VoIP interactions, proximity chat, is if you can work out negotiations. Because in real life PMCs, well, if they run into each other by accident, I mean,
Mhm.
I've talked to Sean McFate. You guys might know him by now, the
Yeah.
author. He says if PMCs are running into one another and they're not expecting it, there's a really good chance that they're going to start firing away. If sometimes they'll try and like, hey, this is your turf, this is mine, but it's very serious business. But they don't want to shoot. They like PMCs. They're not looking to like take their own lives. So
Yeah.
Correct.
well, maybe I'm sure we'll see more of those interactions, but it's really hard when you see a little birded coming in to not want to open fire.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
we just needed to make it better, Crash. So I hope you feel like you got more of a fighting chance now, but we'll keep tweaking when we need to.
Yeah, no, it's I get it, and it's cool. And then there's also, you know, the opportunity. You really can. I've walked to some weird areas and just explore the map because I've seen some stuff in the chopper, and I'm like, I want to go there and see what that little building is. You really can walk in decent ways in not that long amount of time. You can run pretty far, and it's not terrible. So taking a different LZ and trying to get him back, and then there's other times where it's like you lose your stuff, you get camped trying to get it back, or you get killed off the LZ trying to get it back, where it's like I lost my stuff. Like you just have to call it,
Yeah.
and you know, decide when to hold them and when to fold them, kind of deal. So it's all in there, and yeah, I'm excited to see the changes and like cute quality of life changes with the chopper, and like maybe a warning if there's people close, or being able to, you know, call it off, or some just different stuff with the chopper. I think there's a lot of possibilities there
Yeah.
to help it. But yeah, that clip of me getting beamed off the chopper kind of went around.
It
a
was
little
brutal.
bit,
It
'cause
was
I was like,
brutal. I mean, honestly, that was like, guys, please, we have to. We
'Cause
have to, and I get what I think is Negend, Najin. He knows what Mara said. Like Mara, we've always said too. You don't have to just see another PMC group and just automatically start firing. So when we add in other things, we're going to add in a karma system because people are worrying about team killing and stuff. We're going to add in more things that will cause more types of, you know, punishment per se. We need to. There's a lot of quality of life things we need to do, and adding some other updates, adding more of like a trading type thing. You know, there's a lot of stuff we'll work on that'll add more of. We don't always have to feel like you got to go into a gunfight.
yeah, I've seen a few clips going around of people working together and VoIP, and it's been really
Yep.
cool. But
Yeah, sure.
yeah,
You know,
man,
that was one of the best moments was, you know, working together of like during the play test with some creators kind of joined up from different factions, all looking for like, hey, I need this one key. You know where it's at. Let's just ceasefire right now, work together, and then if someone else comes in, we'll shoot them.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's been some neat moments like that. And then like when we decided we're just gonna go over to the Crimson Shield starting town and try to surprise somebody, that was wild too. You can you can play however you want.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's been some surprises with people playing it weird and stuff that you didn't expect.
Sure. Yeah, of course.
But-
When I see like Mr. Gibbon, that guy, he's a funny guy. I love seeing all the different takes. The way like Triple G, like these guys play. Someone played a lot more sandboxy like, and some others like to play it like a milsim.
Mm,
Play it the way you want.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, dude, I know you said an hour and we went over, and I apologize for that.
It's fine.
I'm sorry, man. I super enjoyed it a bunch. I want to, well, we have all these new people here. I'm so glad that everybody's here. I really appreciate it. I want to say thank you to Rick for him to take the time to come on our small little corner of the internet. Says a lot about his character. And I mean, like, time is money to you. I feel like it's like asking like if you have a buddy that works on cars to fix your car for free. Like, it's not very nice, but I appreciate you coming on, man.
Guys, I'm really glad you guys had me, to be honest. Like I look at you guys, man, like, man, I've had talks with Blue, you know, just even one-on-one chat. Like, you guys are good people. And I have friends that I used to go on a podcast with them, and I'm like, guys, I can't do 3 hours. I'm so sorry. I could do an hour. I'm going on theirs later at 9:30. My wife's like, what are you doing?
Oh, shoot.
I'm like, I'm just, you know, this is the time to get out there. Like
Yeah.
you know,
definitely.
even if there's things we need to fix and work on, like or at least we're letting people know we're here to stay. And dude, I've been looking forward to having this time with you guys. And I mean, you talk about like feeling like you don't owe us anything. I feel like we gotta, you know, we gotta keep supporting you guys for getting the word out there, man. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I just appreciate it, and you taking the time to come on here. It's been awesome. So
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Rick.
look forward to the future, and you're welcome anytime to pull up a chair on the old show anytime, man.
let's do it again then.
Let's do it, dude. Let's do it. Yeah, we'll just make it a quarterly thing. It's fine. We'll get him to sign a contract. He'll be back, Chad. Don't worry. No, I'm kidding. He'll be a recurring guest. It's fine. It's fine. So yeah, guys,
We'll get a
what we'll do
non-compete NDA.
is we'll take a super short break, and we will be right back with you guys. We're gonna say bye to Rick, and we'll be right back.
Let's do it.
Guys, we've returned. That was awesome.
Hello.
We're back. While there is still a lot of you new folks here, I did want to say that we appreciate all the new folks popping in. I hope you've enjoyed it. Yeah, this is a show where we just talk about everything going on with FPS news throughout the week. Like I said, it's an audio only version. If you do want to support the show, we just ask, be a friend, tell a friend. The audio version, if you leave allegedly, all right, if you leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it's supposed to help push the audio version around. I don't know, but we meet here every Monday evening around 5:30. Change it up a little this week for Tuesday, but we usually meet every single week 5:30 p.m. Central right here and talk about shooter games. And it's community driven, and it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, it's just awesome. But yeah, what'd you guys think of all that stuff?
Awesome information. Definitely. Rick's an awesome guy. It's my first time speaking with him outside of just like DMs and stuff. So yeah, really good dude. And yeah. I like I said with him here, it just seems like, again, I haven't played it, but I've watched you guys like obsessively and other creators too. It just seems like the perfect game for what I'm looking for. And it seems like they're approaching, an early access title the correct way. And I'm really excited to see what they do with this game, because I think it's going to be it's a very bright future for sure. It's going to be a powerhouse here to stay for a long time.
I think
I will say that Stalker talk got me excited, man.
Right. I bet
it's getting closer. Every sleep is a day closer, Blue.
I think it's closer than we anticipate, or at least that I expected from this conversation. But I do understand that the foundation needs to be more set, especially, hardware, software, specs.
Priorities.
I completely, that's definitely there for sure. I mean, again, like, day and night coming in soon. And then it's like, you add that, but now you got to add night vision, then you got to add IR stuff. You got to add, who knows what else you got to add to that, including, and then after that, the dynamic weather and stuff like that. So, I mean, heck, at this point, I might start seeing, like if they bring in rain, you're going to see like raindrops hit a leaf and then drop off another leaf, hit another branch on. It's like, it could get that crazy, but it's, and it's cool that was kind of like, at least he confirmed there is that one anomaly to the south of the gray zone, of ground zero, I should say, of what Rilo showed, of just like that weird hole between some trees. It looks like something got flattened almost on the way in, and then there's like a wind howl, like you can hear the wind. It's like a wind tunnel, so it's like, okay, all right, it's not a big clue as to what happened, because I'm definitely more like, as much as everyone loves the PvP aspect and the mechanics and stuff like that, I want to know more about the lore. I think that's the whole point for me, as a creator. I just want to know more about the story. So it's cool to finally kind of get some of that, shown a little bit.
Yeah. I guess my big takeaway from it is, like, we all know from playing it that it has a long ways to go. And especially from like the big ambitious visions that they have for the stuff that they want to add. But it sounded like, from talking to Rick, that they're aware of everything that needs to happen in between here and there. So that's good, because to me it's like, man, there's all these quality of life things you want to do. There's AI needs quite a bit of work and improvement to get it to do what they want it to do. They're adding camps to maps, they're adding choppers, like menu things and stuff, and all these things. It's like, holy shit, man, like that's a lot of stuff. But it sounds like, they're up for it and aware. So it's just going to be, from my end, I'm down to be along for the ride and see how it goes. I'm excited to see where it ends up, because the end game sounds good. And I'm old enough. It's like, man, I want to play 1.0 now. But I want to just to hurry up and get here, but I'm old enough now where I never want time to go faster. So I'll just wait. I'm way more patient. Like, I'll chill. I'll wait. But yeah, man. No, that was cool. That was cool to have him on. I was really happy to get him on, and he shared a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah, some really good insight. Some what he could share is we got some glimpses of what's coming, and some tentative things that are on the drawing board. So
yeah, I'm just, I still definitely feel for those that, like he said, I'm glad he's mentioned it himself. Is for the ones that do have good rigs and good setups, and they're still seeing optimization issues and performance issues. It's at least they under. I mean, I always knew that they saw it. It's hard not to see it, especially with the amount of tickets they probably get, and just all the coverage this game has gotten. So at least I know. Again, I know he's not a dev specifically, so it's it's probably things he couldn't answer himself. But at least I was trying to figure out some of the questions that I guess the audience would want to know as well too during that time of just like, hey, I'm just a gamer that has this setup. I think one of the good questions I saw, and I saw you answer that, Buff, was just like, what do they think? Other than, of course, like you can go look at the Steam required specs and the minimum recommended specs, but even when people that are getting those are hitting above or at those recommended specs, still getting performance issues, that was really much the biggest thing. It's and again, it's like, as I'm glad the team's working on it. I completely understand. It's only, like you said, 7 days ish that this game's been out for early access. So there's a lot more feedback that needs to come in, a lot more testing needs to come in. So I definitely am. I'm interested to see the future. I don't think this game is going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think it's dying anytime. It's gonna keep growing. So I'm just here for the ride. I'm just here for the ride to see what this team is doing. It seems like they're doing some good work. And yeah, I mean that's kind of just like my 2 cents on the entire process of it, I would say.
Yeah, I find myself bouncing back and forth between why isn't this fixed yet, and like, oh, these things take time, and it's going to be a while. It's hard to be patient.
I mean, like he's like, yeah,
is what I think. Did we want to pretty much call that a show, or did you guys want to talk about anything else going on, like Helldivers or Arena Breakout or any of that stuff going on? I don't know. Should we make that an episode?
Well, I know some people were interested in Arena Breakout coming out. I believe is it coming out 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah, it's like 9
what
p.m.
I'm seeing. I thought I could have swore it was
out.
coming out on the 8th, but I guess they went out and
doing a little bit early.
Yeah, so I mean it is a closed beta, so and I know people are probably gonna also start comparing this to Gray Zone, and I still think and he said as well too. It's an MMO. It's an always online experience. This is not, Gray Zone is not an extraction shooter whatsoever. You might have the the LZ extracts, but you can go in and stay in as long as you want. There's no timer. You can you can walk, and like you said, you can basically, you even said it too, Crash, like, oh, if I'm flying over somewhere, I could just walk out from my base and walk to that area, set a waypoint, go check that out, walk back to base. Things are still happening around in the world, it's definitely like, I mean, I'm glad he brought up Far Cry as well too, of just like that feeling. Maybe we'll see some some creatures or some animals. I think that'd be kind of funny just to see like a freaking cheetah pounce on one of your teammates. So yeah, we're gonna see that regardless though. People called it a Tarkov killer, even though Tarkov killed itself, or is killing itself in my opinion. But
yeah, we really didn't get a chance to get into that either. Holy cow, man. Like the Tarkov stuff has been wild, man.
We'll have to cover a lot of that next week for sure. There's a lot. This is a good time in gaming, man. There's a lot of news, a lot of stuff to go over.
Yeah, it really is. And I think Buff and Blue have been telling me, and I've always been like, nah. But I feel like you guys have been kind of saying like the extraction or survival type shooter is like, it's like that wave is coming, and it kind of feels like we're getting here with like, it's like one of the biggest ones for so long is like faltering from the PR side. And it's fine because you have Gray Zone, you have like Arena Breakout coming, you have Project Black Budget coming from PUBG, you have Division Heartland for like in more like low key experience too. Like
I mean, it's even crazy. Yeah, I'm even seeing like DayZ on Reforger become better and better, and Reforger's on consoles as well too. So you're gonna start seeing that as well too.
PlayStation.
Oh yeah, it's only Xbox, isn't it? It's a Microsoft thing.
Dude.
Yeah, hey, we all can't have everything. Okay, at least
What's
we
a
don't have to link our
PlayStation?
PSN accounts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
facts.
What's a PlayStation? Never heard of her.
What's a PlayStation? Yeah, it's just as much as I don't think it's gonna be as big like the extraction genre as battle royales. I think battle royale in general is more what's the word? It allows more players, more gamers to play it. I would say compared to an extraction hardcore survival shooter. That's very. I think it's not as niche as I imagine anymore, probably, but it's definitely still a little bit more niche than people who enjoy battle royale stuff like that. I mean, like look at the numbers for
Yeah.
Apex Legends; it's still insane.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Buff, did you see
Yeah.
the Andrew Wilson comments today? You pretty excited about Battlefield?
Yeah, I
Live
think maybe third time is the charm for the Battlefield Live service because they've crashed and burned 2 times in a row. So I have
He-
no hope
He
whatsoever.
literally said the same exact words he said for the last several titles in an earnings call today. He said, a few weeks ago, I was visiting the teams and I couldn't be more excited about what they showed me and what we were able to play. It will be a tremendous live service, he says.
It's just like that is
It's a
Yeah, it's-
broken
it's-
record, dude.
a beautiful wall. The wall's gonna be great. It's just the greatest wall I've ever seen. Just they working so hard on the wall. It's gonna be great. Battlefield's gonna be a great game. Live service, the best, most tremendous live service we've ever seen. That's what he's saying, dude. Honestly, shut up and don't talk about it until you're ready to show something that isn't garbage. Because you guys, to just come out with a PR statement like it's just terrible. Given your track record since Battlefield V was 2019, 2018. You guys
Yeah.
haven't been able to stick a landing on a live service, let alone a decent Battlefield title in 6+ years. So I don't want to hear any crap about a
True.
live service
It's just-
until
yeah.
you're showing me a game that doesn't suck.
It's so funny how they're like, yeah, they're saying the exact same
I
thing.
bet what's her name's gonna come out and just say we've never had a Battlefield game this far along in development, this far ahead of schedule. We're so ahead of schedule, and
We can release it tomorrow.
yeah, developers are gonna be like, yeah, we just delayed because we need a little bit more time to polish things. I've worked on these games for years. Trust me.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh man, history never repeats, but it rhymes, and it's sure rhyming pretty heavily right now.
Yeah.
I will say I'm a little bit still even because I know we got Delta Force as well too that
Oh yeah.
could come in and maybe fill in that gap as well too, and of course that also has an extraction
Yeah.
mode as well too. So it should cover kind of like all the bases and
Yeah.
whatnot. But
Definitely.
man, I'm not saying I'm worried, but I'm not. Again, I haven't had gameplay or hands-on experience with that, so I can never really feel like I can give my true opinion
Yeah.
on a game until I get my hands fully on it, including even like Arena Breakout coming in, for the closed beta, and even
Yeah.
then that's a beta. I'm curious
Yeah, it's still
how
super
they
early.
say their
for
beta
sure.
is exactly.
Are
So.
you
Yeah.
playing it tonight, Blue?
Maybe, I don't know. I try to go to sleep around like 9-ish, and if it's coming out at 10, I'm like, that's pushing. I gotta go to the gym early in the morning. So
I might.
rest.
If you're gonna stream it, I'll watch a little bit, Crash. But
Yeah.
I did pass my keys along because I can't play it, but I will. I might bug you for some run through of all the guns in the game potentially if
Yeah.
it's if there is a menu for any of that.
For sure.
Because my GTX 1660, believe it or not, is just not quite gonna cut it. So
all right, guys, we're gonna get a GoFundMe here for Buff. Let's get this set up for him to get some better
24 hour
PC.
24-hour toe pick stream. I'm gonna do American
Yeah.
Truck Simulator barefoot with a foot cam to raise money
there we go.
for Buff's new PC. It's gonna be
Hey, I'll
sweet.
And I'll
I'll
just-
take my shirt off and flex for $2,300 right now. I'm just saying.
And we're
Just
gonna
saying.
It's gonna be yeah.
pretty soon we're
I'll
gonna have
chip
to do
in.
it
I'll
on
start
Kick.
rubbing my gun barrel with some gun
just
oil just
some
over and
oil,
over
just
again.
Get your finger in there and clean it nice.
Just some
and-
ASMR,
nice and
just
deep-like.
me racking the charging handle. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this on Kick.
Back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll go over to Kick for that. Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Yeah, just give me your account access, Crash, and we'll do that. I'll take us over to a strip
Sounds-
club. Finally,
sounds
it's
great.
time. It's time.
Sounds great, man. But yeah, man, I think that was a show. That was a good one. I will-
Great show.
I will be streaming the Arena Breakout tonight. I actually, it's like the worst timing because I'm having so much fun making videos out. Like there's games out right now that I'm like wanting to make videos about because they're fun and people are watching them and it's sweet. But
Yeah, I
have to
might
go on a
get some
vacation.
footage.
kind of,
Yeah, I might just get some footage tonight, maybe, and then I was thinking about streaming it tomorrow, but I might even just focus on just recording more than streaming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
I'm kind of out of luck because I have to leave like like tomorrow around noon or so for Texas to go visit family. So yeah, I'm gonna try to like stream tonight, record gameplay, maybe make a video
Nice.
and like do all that before I drive to Texas. So yeah,
Awesome.
timing, baby.
Texas.
Drive safe.
Will do. But yeah, guys, man, crazy show with support tonight. A lot of people, man. Holy crap.
Yeah.
I was
great
like
show for
almost
sure.
nervous, man. I don't like that. We got to keep it low key, man. But no, I'm kidding. Yeah, just thank you guys so much for being here. We really appreciate it. The chat was awesome. Didn't even have to ban anybody. That's wild.
No sex bots either. Unfortunate.
Well, that you can look at that
Dang
as a
it.
positive or a negative. Right? Kind of sad. But way she goes. I think what's gonna happen, I don't know, is when I think when I end the podcast stream, it'll take you guys to my Arena Breakout stream that you can hit the notify button. I don't know if that works or not.
Did you do the redirects?
I did. I think.
So what I noticed, that make sure and anyone's watching, if you do want to go see Crash Play Arena Breakout, if you don't have autoplay on, it'll just be like, it'll just show up on the screen like, hey, this is what's next, you know. But if you have autoplay on, it should just automatically take you to that stream, even if it's on a timer.
Gotcha.
No.
Gotcha. Yeah, Arena Breakout launches tonight, 9 Central, 10 Eastern, I think. I'm gonna try to go
Closed
live
beta,
like
closed beta.
closed
Yeah,
beta.
not
Yeah.
actual release.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Closed beta servers go live. I'm gonna try to be on like 30 minutes or so ahead of time just to kind of see what's up and get things going. And yeah, the audio version of this will be up before I leave for Texas, either early in the morning or tonight. The audio version will be out so you guys can listen to what Rick has to say on the go. This VOD also stays up so you can watch it whenever. And yeah, man, been great. What a heck of a show. Appreciate you guys. Next week we will be back, probably back to just the three of us and chatting about everything. We'll probably talk about Tarkov, Helldivers. We'll definitely be able to react to some Arena Breakout stuff. And next week's episode is going to be awesome. So it should be fun. That good?
Absolutely. Love it. Take
That's
care,
good.
guys. Thanks for hanging out.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you guys so much.
Later, everyone.
See ya.